Hi, my name is Taylor Small.
And I'm Emily Mullen.
And we're doing our project on heteronormativity.
What is heteronormativity?
That is a really great question. Heteronormativity is denoting or relating to a worldview that promotes heterosexuality as the normal or preferred sexual orientation.
Interesting.
Yeah, right? So how'd the project go?
It went really well. Do you want to know what we did?
Absolutely.
So we asked straight identified people 5 questions that gay and lesbians get asked on a regular basis to see what their responses would be.
Let's take a look. Question number 1. At what age did you know that you were straight?
I don't think it was a specific age. I don't know exactly. I couldn't identify when it was. I think it just kind of happened and I was okay with it.
I guess I just kind of, I guess I always knew. No. When I saw Jennifer Gardner for the first time, I was 10 years old. That's...
I guess, what age are you in 7th grade?
Well, I feel like I've always known, but I didn't fully realize it until, I'd say, college.
College?
Yeah.
I guess I always knew. I never was like, ooh, I guess I like dick.
10?
Had a really big crush on this guy, Brian Pulsifer. Oops, was I not supposed to
No,
use
you
names?
can absolutely do that.
Okay, that's when I knew, like,
Oh God, I don't know. I guess when I had my first kiss. So I guess like 5th grade.
I feel like more like towards the end of 8th grade, like beginning of freshman year, when I started to pay like more attention to like movies and like who was expected to be with like who. I feel like I started to realize that like that like fits me, because I didn't really have like thoughts about that, like my sexuality when I was that young, but more from like outside sources that helped me figure it out probably by like freshman year of high school.
Question number 2. Who turned you straight?
My first real boyfriend, Dustin. And that was probably Steven, and he had like the huge box of crayons and he used to share that with me.
Who turned me straight? I don't think anybody turned me straight. I don't think you turned straight.
I think it was this girl, Kristen.
Turn me straight. What do you mean?
No one. I guess I was born that way.
Honestly, I guess I'd have to say my family in a way, because they're really, I don't know the word for it, against being gay and that stuff, so I don't know, I just guess I always thought I couldn't be.
Yeah. Question number 3. When did you come out to your family as straight?
It's one of those things like in society where you're assumed to be straight until you come out as gay.
I just think they assumed, because I never said I was.
I don't think I've ever come out to my family as straight. I mean, yeah, I don't even know if they know.
I didn't have to.
I did not come out to my family as straight. It was assumed by society, by the cultural laws of our society. Is that what you want? I was forced into being straight. They literally threw me into a room with a woman and said, have sex with that girl, and I was like, yes, no.
Never. Still have not. Should I do that when I go home for break?
I never really had to explicitly say that. It was just, they just kind of like knew.
Oh wow, I don't know. Out of the womb.
I never did. They're just there.
I didn't really come out. They kind of just assumed.
I think my parents are still in denial that I'm sexually active, so I never did.
I grew up with 2 moms, so I just was like, yeah, I like girls. So.
Never. They assumed it.
Question number 4. Are you ever worried to tell your employer about your sexuality?
No.
No, I don't think it would ever be an issue.
No.
No, not really.
No. Sometimes I worry about telling them about my cats. I like to shower with them. I don't know if that's weird or not.
No. Welcome.
And the last question, question number 5, how do you know that you're straight if you've never been with someone of the same sex?
a good question. I actually can't answer it. I wouldn't be able to say for sure. So, well, that's where I'm gonna say like I'm not 100% on that spectrum because you know I've kissed girls and I've done some other things with ladies and it was very fun, but I've never dated a woman. I've never become intimate with a woman, so I can't say.
I guess that's a good point. I don't know. I've just never been attracted to a guy, I guess.
Because
I'm not
scared of my own
attracted.
vagina.
That's true, yeah. I barely want to, like, you know, let alone, like, you know, so. That's a good question. Well, I have been with somebody of the same sex, so I know.
I guess I don't.
I have had many a female sexual experience. I'm fairly convinced I'm straight.
That's a good question.
And probably, honestly, you don't. I feel like unless, I mean, definitively, you can't rule it out, I guess, if you've never tried it.
I'm gonna have to say that's due to hormones. Just brain reactions or something like that, right? Yeah.
So there you have it. We interviewed over 40 college students who identify as straight, and as you can see, their responses were pretty across the board. So now, we're going to look at how the LGBTQA community is impacted by heteronormativity.
So our first question is, how do you define heteronormativity?
When everybody's so focused on like the dichotomy of like boy, girl, and then like them together.
The way our society works to make heterosexuality the normal and average and everyday go-to default.
What people consider to be the norm in society, and just a regular like female and male couple. I guess would that be my definition.
I think I define it as the lack of needed awareness that those who identify as straight need to have in their everyday lives with operating in like their love relationships, their work relationships, or even just their personal relationships would be my personal definition.
I guess the way I would identify it is sort of an overarching like societal view that being attracted to someone of the opposite sex is normal and that anything else doesn't quite fit and it's not really represented a lot. I guess that's it.
Second question is, how does heteronormativity affect you in your daily life, or just in general?
I mean, it's like a constant. I don't think about it as much anymore. I thought about it when I was first coming out, but like just not being represented kind of sucks. Like if you're really into like a love song on the radio or something, but it's a man singing and he's singing about a woman, then I feel that.
I don't know, people assume I'm straight. That's pretty much it.
Because I'm not really out with my identity because I don't feel safe and I can't really come out back home because of my parents. So it's not like I ignore my identity, but it's not something that I could fully be a part of, I feel, at times. So
The most I've seen it come up is with my church back home. A lot of the times I would have to I'd go throughout school throughout the week and I'd be fine with my friends and my community and I'd be like, you know, this is what I believe. Like, I'm pansexual, I'm proud of this. And then I'd go home on the weekends and I'd go to church and that's when the messages of this is wrong and the world is turning away from the way of God and all of these things that just like negate everything that I believe for myself. So I would say the most it has impacted me is from church and from those leaders that I'm supposed to look up to.
Well, I guess since I've just sort of identified my sexuality and gone through this process, it's more of I'm noticing it more instead of it affecting me on the daily, because it's more me being like, oh wow, this movie is really heteronormative and it doesn't represent who I like am attracted to or who I could have a relationship with, and it's more me picking up on things that I didn't notice before, like how people talk or how people address situations, the social media thing. Like, it's more that for me and exploring it and figuring it out rather than being like hit by it.
So then we wanted to know if there was any time that you've ever felt excluded because of your identity.
Sometimes I feel weird about saying my girlfriend because I don't want people to like give me a weird look, and sometimes I like hold my breath a little bit after I say, oh yeah, my girlfriend and I or something, and then I'm like Did they notice?
So I don't really feel that restricted unless in conversations people generally assume I'm straight, and then if we're talking about like stuff like this, they'll kind of disregard my word and they'll be like, well, you're straight, you don't know, and I'm just like.
No, my best friend was kind of an asshole about it. Sometimes she'd say like, well, you know, you'll go back to guys eventually, right? Or that's annoying.
It comes into play with me being Latina and also being a woman. So all three identities in society are not dominant, so they bring me down. No matter what you want to do in life, and life is supposed to bring you down. So I always have to like stay strong, fight hard, like prove everyone wrong that no matter how you identify, no matter how you look, you can do whatever you want to.
So once I came out, and it was forced out of me, I guess I should say, I started noticing that like during like praise and worship, like my praise just wasn't the same anymore, because like I just listened to my uncle, who is my pastor, talk about how like we can't fully praise, and like the words that we're saying are falling on deaf ears because like, you know, we're not being heard because we identify as other than straight.
I think it's more like interacting with people from home who don't know. Like my brother will make fucked up jokes that I'll say my normal, hey, that's not okay, like it's not cool, and he'll be like, social justice queen, and I'm just like, haha, yeah, but inside it fucking sucks because he doesn't know yet.
So then we just wanted to give one last opportunity for you to say anything about heteronormativity or about marginalized identities, and just give one last chance for you to have the floor.
Like female locker rooms, I feel like I need to, like, I feel people know I'm gay, so I feel like I need to, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I definitely pretend that no one else is there. Like I don't look at anyone, like because I don't want to make them uncomfortable.
I was always remembering to love the self, and remembering that all of the heteronormativity will always impact like the people who are in the marginalized. I can't even think of words right now. But although it will always impact them, to remember that like that self-worth and self-love is how you're going to find ways to get through that and to navigate that space. Because it's having that for yourself and knowing who you are and knowing that who you are is okay, and like just believing that is probably the most important thing to have.
I'm just noticing that the way people react to my sexuality, just from like the people I've told here, it's been almost like sexualized in like a fetish sort of way, like, oh, that's hot, and I'm just like, actually I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't say that to me about my sexuality, because I'm not like an object that you get to sort of toy around with for your own pleasure, because who I choose to interact with and have relationships with is my choice, and it's not something that I don't think anyone has a right to objectify.
My dad always tells me like nothing is impossible because the word itself says I'm possible. So, and it can apply to anyone, everyone.
So there you have it.
Heteronormativity is just about everywhere.
It's found in institutions such as universities, businesses, and all platforms of media.
But the first step to bettering our society is recognition. So try to stop being so heteronormative and support your local gay. Let's try this. I'm so sorry.
You're so pretty.
I'm so pretty. I don't know English.
So pretty.
You can tell by the way I'm doing my walk that I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music, and the bum bum bum.
Okay, ready? Near.
Okay, well you're off the
screen. Wherever you are. Hello. I'm Sarah McLaughlin. In the arms of the angels. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So there you have it, folks. That's all, folks.